Hello, how's everybody doing? Alrighty then, what happened last time? I know this answer. I could probably simulate it. Kind of wish I had the gift, the chain. I actually came up and I would put it over the camera. That's all right. I was informed about it. I was informed about it, so no need to worry. Yeah, you know what happened last week, Di? I'm sure you remember. A lot of stuff. You're right, a lot of stuff. We actually investigated pretty much the entire Space Center again. We learned from Juniper Woods that her mom was part of the space program and was murdered. And Athena was also part of the space program. And then when we finally had a chance, well, before we get to that part, the robot revolted, held everybody in hostage, and we were told to find a courtroom for the trial. Guess what courtroom they picked? The one in ruins. You're exactly right. They chose the one in ruins. And then we had a chance to talk with Tina. Who basically had a panic attack at the very end of the chapter. And that's when we got to see the Black Lock for the second time. That's where we're at. And we are going to be running into somebody we met in the last chapter. Here we go. December 20th. 3:11 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 5. Get a little read. She's our aide to the lock. Where she's getting this information, it's still quite unknown where she's getting this information. I looked into those special psych labs. Did. That's great. I really appreciate it. The red psych lock protects the secret of person. The person holds under questioning, lock breaks, and the truth comes out. Yep. That's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright and Director Cosby. Black Psych Lock protects the secret from the deepest place in the heart. Secret that the person isn't even consciously aware of. So even they don't know it's there. Tina is trying to keep anything from you on purpose. And she's not, based on what Pearl is saying, she's unaware that she's doing it. Which, as we already know, that's related to her condition. For some reason, part of her heart, her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Okay, so all I have to do is break the cyclock. According to my research, black cyclock is like a heavy chain directly around one's heart. They are ripped off by force that can cause permanent damage to a person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. She's basically there already. Pearl, did you stay by Athena's side? You must be suffering under the weight of such a heavy burden. Alright. Will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick? I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all of my focus and strength. You can't do that. No, that's not it. Black and constant. You were there with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pearl. Alright. I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick. Good. Now that my mind is at ease, ready. Ready up the evidence and take out what I don't need. Time to end this nightmare started 7 years ago. So, take a look at what we have so far. This is all we have right now. December 20th. District Court, courtroom number 4. Defense, prosecution, judge, or even people gallery. Roof has been completely blown off. Walls have. Okay. This ruin is my battlefield. Court for home Bastimo thereof is now in session for the trial of Athena's life. Well, for being in ruins, the courtroom is still quite scant. Not a fast meal, old man. This is a proper official trial. The wood has seen a lot more damage than the stone. So it's very easy to repair this courtroom. Take this More seriously, or you'll start hearing the bones of the hostage. Please try not to upset Miss Blackwell. I'm begging you! Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena's fight. Is that better? This is no trial. Nothing more than a ridiculous farce. What did you say? Edgeworth, did you not hear what I just said to his honor? However, this ridiculous farce has a very important meaning for our legal system. Recall the case of the Your One incident, in which the prosecutor was found guilty of murder. The case ushered in the odious dark age of the law. I see what you can find the real truth behind that case today. Like, darkness will be dispelled and she shall be restored to the court. Prosecutor Edgeworth, sound as if you know something about the truth. Oh, indeed. The fact has emerged to our one case. 7 years, Simon Blackwell has refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Sorry, Wright. The situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. Prosecution proposed to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in first degree.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you'd better bring it.
If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
This immense tension between us. Like we're picking up right where we left off. My duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of false accusations and end this insanity. I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer, but without a doubt that Athena is innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit. But it's clear what that person is. Put it simply, a spy. True culprit to the spy. It's going to be hard to convince someone of that when I barely believe in myself. But I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy. Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth? No need for the Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor. I am Prosecutor. Very well. Your opening statement, Prosecutor. Although I've been known of late to give an impressive opening statement myself, in all the trials I've ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening. Well, of course, right. I was just joking. Just having a little fun. So, he wasn't doing them just out of fear? Interesting. Let's start with a brief overview of the UR1 incident. This incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago on October 7th. victim psychologist at a site was killed in the robotics lab on the Swiss. Simon Blackwell, the young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder. Two, photo captures the moment of the crime. Very interesting. It's clear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed. Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of that kind. This opening statement's over. Now hurry up and call the witness. Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know. Oh, perhaps we should exceed wishes, sir. He is the trial's sponsor, after all. Besides, court is killing, and sitting for too long can't be good for your back. Oh, well, you're very kind to show such concern for the welfare of the elderly. As skilled as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see. Prosecution calls his first witness. Decided to bring forth new testimony for 7 long years. Testimony. Just who is this witness anyway? Bobby Fulbright, the name, and justice we trust. What are you doing here? Well, I'm just here to speak to the hostage taker, Miss Aurora Black. She says she's too busy, but with confining and trading the hostages and all. You think Blackwell? You would think that Fulbright would be there instead of in the courtroom. So where's justice there? It's more like injustice, right? That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming into Blanco. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you. Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation. Though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted, and I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go. Aurora Blackwell's theory. Simon is in the murder, trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time. Say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling cage? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case, the Athena site. And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in the face of the official ruling about the case mentioned. There were other rolling cases like that, one in the lab. They're not for traveling. They're apparently for moving parts and equipment. I particularly remembered cases size. At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to stop, but they had a perfectly good reason to think that too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab, and the camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case. You can see why the footage helped to bring his trial to a quick end. Very convincing, that, sure. 7-year-old video updated into the court record. The case, by the way, was later discovered outside on the Space Center grounds. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found? It was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Miss Sykes was at the time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give proper testimony. There were no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been. So, what you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi? That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused's mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl? Of course the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotion. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to the therapy thing? Yes. She's done it quite a few times in court. Ability to read emotions from speech, and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem research. I like where this is. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting? I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiment. If Sykes felt her own choice was to kill her own mother. Ah! Order in the court. What a tragic story. Hereby, I hardly want to believe it myself. We must proceed, Mr. Wright. If you could, Detective Fulbright, please refer to the note. Twitchbot. Black whales here. Ready, die? Alright.
Hold it!
So, Prosecutor Blackwell will willingly accept a death sentence to protect someone else? Yes. That is precisely what Miss Blackwell appears to be. And that is what I believe as well. Prosecutor Blackwell is no murderer, Mr. Wright. But Athena certainly didn't kill anyone. So it appears neither of us can afford to go easy on the other. Fine, no less. Ooh, I remember this defense atmosphere. So invigorating. I'm only reading notes here, but yeah. I feel extra invigorated too. So let's keep going.
Hold it!
That's just speculation.
Objection!
No, Miss Blackwell has proper grounds for her claim.
Objection!
Then why didn't you say so in the first place?
Objection!
You're the one who screamed, "Hold it," and cut me off. Fine, so maybe I jumped the gun by a teeny weeny bit. Now I know what they mean when they say close enough to argue. Moving on. They sound like they're married, don't they, Di?
Hold it!
This rolling case, I suppose you mean the one that exists in the photo with Prosecutor Blackwell in it. It was absent when the crime scene photo was taken. Yes, that's the one. If Blackwell has drawn a conclusion from these two photos. He has? But what is the conclusion? You're the one with her notes. Oh, right. Of course. I'm reading them now. So, by the rolling case. Albright, forgetting what he was doing there.
Hold it!
And how do you propose he hit a person inside one of those cases? Have you forgotten that we saw just such a thing only the other day at your own daughter's magic show? He fit a grown person into a small box. Oh yeah! Oh, way to ruin the memory of a good day. The magic show? I wish you would have thought to invite me. Actually, I would have liked to go too. My apologies. I'll invite you both next time, I promise. So, wait a minute. What were we talking about again? Prosecutor Blackwell was using the case to hide someone.
Hold it!
And that's nothing more than a conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case? I think it was the moon rock, but that would make him guilty if it was the moon rock. It could have also been robotic parts that he had in the case too.
Objection!
There were 3 cases at the scene, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. Wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there just to move that rock.
Objection!
But that, as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was inside the case? Well, Mr. Wright, can you? Hey, give a guy time to think. Hey, I try to bluff my way through. What could have been in that case? You say bluff. You want to bluff. So, if we bluff, it could cost us. If we don't bluff, we would have to actually know what's in that case. So, are we willing to risk a penalty? Are we really? We don't know exactly what's in that case, anyways. But we're going to ask ourselves: are we willing to risk a penalty and make a possible suggestion, or are we just going to put all of our eggs in one basket and make an educated guess? Knowing Phoenix Wright, he would probably risk a penalty. I know exactly where Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. Just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat. Cool. I'd be very interested in hearing your theory, if it's true, that is. This is a crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we have to do is compare this with this photo of Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. If he took something with him, then it should be in one of these photos. Any luck? Don't fail me now. All right then, Mr. Wright. Let us hear your theory. What did Prosecutor Blackwell take from the scene of the murder? It's very easy to see. No, he would not need to put a sword in one of those cases. It has to be big enough to carry in the case. He can actually just sheathe the sword and hide it underneath his outfit. So it's got to be something that has to go into one of those cases. This would be a robot's arm. It's covered in band-aids, and I can almost guarantee Athena scribbled all over it. But yeah, that's our highest option here.
Take that!
Please note that there is a robot part on the top of the card in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime. You appear to be right. I don't see it in the second photo. So whether he was bluffing or not, this is our logical road that we have to take. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? It's really just an insignificant robot. Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which, what are you looking at? I'm going to start charging for each glance, per eyeball. Stingy, what happened to the age of free previews? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be an arm from that robot over there? Oh, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be practical for just the moon rocket and robot arm. Oh, was it really just the arm that was there? If there wasn't a scene in the case, then maybe. I believe there was another robot at the scene of the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, it is the defendant's assertion that it was this other robot that was in the case. What?
Objection!
We can't be certain that that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of the one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, the threat is entirely independent, making it difficult to verify what.
Objection!
I know for a fact that it's a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belongs to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the scene or not. Right. I thought you were more of the technology literate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned. Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belongs to. This one's going to be a little hard to pick out because you normally would pick profiles in this situation. They're asking for a piece of evidence. I know the answer to this one now. Photo of the group, are you talking about the Hat 1 exhibit?
Take that!
The photo in this picture is named, or the robot in this picture is named Ponko. So, another thing that you probably have missed, look at the right arm of the robot, okay? It's covered in bandages. It has the same markings on it, right? We only looked at the Band-Aid on the top. So that's where our evidence is coming from. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. She must have thought the machine healed in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild. The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandage wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko. Order in the court. Order, I say. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this? I can see that the robot is about the same size as a child. It cannot grab its knees and curl itself into a ball. Even if it was the largest of the case, the robot couldn't have possibly fit in there. Well, the robot's been dismantled. So, in its dismantled state, it would fit. This comes up to about mid-high on prosecutor's platform. The robot is much taller than that. You got me there. So then, did Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponko fit into the case? We already said this earlier. Well, if she was compacted, she could not be used today. the option would be dismantling her, because if you dismantle her, they can put her back together. If they compacted her, she's done. She would be no longer be existing today. Of course, Ponko was fit. All Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could be easily fit inside the rolling case. Here's the robot assembling this. Dismemberable anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. Sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick? It sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a...
Objection!
That there was a body on the table where robots are dismantled and assembled. So was the body there at the time that he was dismantling Ponko? There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead? You mean the sword? Yes, Your Honor. Miss Blackwell, I'd like your opinion as a woman of science. Is it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. The joints aren't made of very tough material. The blades could slice through them. Thank you for your opinion, Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponko was not found at the scene, we conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation. You can't mean. That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was flight. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by the bloody katana. Most likely, the rest of Ponko is scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet. Not hearing this. Therefore, what was transported inside the case was not the defendant, the robot. This site never was at the scene of the time of the murder. My head, my body, where am I? Ah! Order in the court. It's true that Ponko was found in pieces after the murder. And I'll admit, I repaired her myself afterwards. Photo of crime updated in the court record. Yes, I'm finally making some progress. Hopefully, I've got at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell in—
Objection!
Well played, Mr. Wright. Made your point abundantly clear. I concede that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot. Alright, what's going on here? Never good when he plays things. Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that the defendant was carried from the scene? No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
Ponko and Miss Sykes couldn't have both been inside that case.
Objection!
The notion the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Blackwell. I have been off a different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense. You've been one step ahead of me this whole time. Okay. How do you propose the defendant left the crime scene? Simple. Footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell at the time. More, holding his arm in front of his body as if he were holding something or someone. That's hardly evidence. I have proof. The fur coat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain had highly distinctive shape. Blood with a distinctive shape? Continue, Prosecutor Blackwell. 7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, which there is only one in the world. A special pair of headphones made just for her. She always wore those big, heavy-looking headphones. And her mother made them for her. Part of her analysis shows the bloodstains to have been in the exact same shape as those headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. Cat? What are you doing? Where'd you go? What are you doing? Get over here. Come on. Get over here. Come here. Come here. Get over here, you. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you, huh? What's the matter with you? Huh? What's the matter with you? What are you doing? What are you doing? You just want the attention? Is that all you want? Yeah? Is that all you want? Yeah? Okay. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then was imprinted onto Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp. Most gruesome stamp indeed. Blackwell carried Miss Sykes who had been hit by a splatter away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Strike was, without question, present at the crime scene. That concludes the prosecution's argument. Ah! Order. If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against...
Objection!
But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well.
Objection!
I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. Really think that no, but you can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time? No, I don't see any record of it. Even was considered unrelated to the case. But as it turns out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, defense would like to call Ponko to the stand. Will robot witness? Order. Order in the court. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think of this? Mr. Wright has called all manners of witness to the stand over the years. Bird? Remember the bird? We all can't forget about the bird. Bird's the word. Oh, why not a robot? Nothing surprises me any more with him. Very well. I will allow the witness, bailiff. Very well. I will allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko. Goodness. Please state your name and my... My name is not witness. My name is Ponko. Oh, isn't she adorable, right, Di? Yes, I realize that. But when you're at the witness stand, you are the witness. No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. What an utterly inflexible little robot. And Edgeworth still has trouble with his witnesses. You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible. You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. Oh, how precious. All right, Ponko. I'm going to ask you some questions. Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions? I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Meta Site. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October, around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab. Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Searching complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab. It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to the case after all. This is great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable. This judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild. Ty, do you want to adopt Ponko? Oh, little Ponko, do you think you can give us your testimony today? Hey, stop. I went to the robotics lab at around 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mama Mentis. And then Mommy Mentis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room. Mr. Simon came in. Then an error occurred. There's no data left at point. Oh, it sounds like the defendant was without question at the scene. Hi. However, it does appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. What? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that this witness is still a machine. In a robot, its understanding and capability to express itself are limited. So what are you suggesting? The witness's statement needs to be interpreted. For example, the term hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. They don't, but yes. What this witness's statements are telling us is that the defendant stabbed the witness with the murder weapon during this moment. What? Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse? Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly. I don't know what they said. So they had an argument. So Athena was complaining about the headphones. She didn't like the headphones. They hurt her ears, stuff like that. So that's what the robot is talking about. Athena is so quiet, so I was surprised. Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this as they argue. See, murder after a heated argument. Victim fell down. I agree that this does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Punko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that. I was recharging, I go into a sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory. You may as well admit defeat now, right? Cross-examination would... Don't be ridiculous. The cross-examination is never useless. Till now, think about it. Robots don't lie. Robots probably don't lie, but robots also can only remember what their data tells them to. Their data is manipulated in some way, which the only way a data can be manipulated is by a human. They can only remember what that data tells them. So if the data is wrong, the robot is going to be wrong. Cross-examination still needed. This robot is both an important witness and a valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have a cross-examination. I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time. Very well. Even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright. I'll show you both just how fruitful any cross-examination can be.
Hold it!
Your regular recharge? What is that exactly? I have to refill my battery power, or else I stop working. I go to the lab to do that. So the recharge occurs around 2 p.m., around the time of the murder? That's right. I go every day at 2 p.m. hugged her, huh? Which Edward took to stab her with a weapon. You said the two of them were talking before Miss Sykes hugged her. Is that right? Yes, they were talking very loudly, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. Couldn't tell? Even though they were speaking so loudly? I'm only allowed to listen to voices that are directed at me. If it listened to every voice, it would be a little better than a mobile eavesdropper. Hell, that explains why some of Ponco's testimony is so vague. It's a shame their little friend wasn't listening in, however. He could have learned what they were talking about just before Dr. Sykes was killed. Well, it's very obvious what they were talking about. 11-year-old girl being made to wear a device that hurt her ears. Yes, I would think that's what they were talking about. She would be complaining to her mom that the headphones hurt her ears. Mother, not giving much of a care, saying that they need to be on her head. That she's going to get used to it. So, it's just parent-child squabble. Happens. Now then, what happened after that?
Hold it!
I don't want to delve too deeply here, but could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment? It looks like it's working. I didn't do anything with it. That might be what you did. You changed the chat. Well, that could have been one of those big, large messages that just pulled right off. Connie Mattis was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound. Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? Those robotics have a heartbeat detection. I do remember reading that there. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeat. Wait a minute. I mean, Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment. Ponco, how is Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Did you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then. Of all the unlucky things, if you had heard anything after that, it would have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. Sorry, I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry. The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. Interesting. You got your toy lost underneath the couch, didn't you? But it does appear it detected an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. After Mommy Mattis's heart started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. The round window on the workbench side of the room. See? It worked. So it was probably a big giant message that just disappeared off screen. Mako must be talking about that table to the right of where the giant robot is. Is there something critical in Ponko's statement just Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like it added to her testimony. Very well. Ponko, could you please add this statement to your testimony? That's a good little one. Mommy Menace fell down near the round window on the workbench side of the room.
Hold it!
Let's see. There are 2 round windows in this robotic lab. Which one did you mean? The one on the right, near the hanging scroll. That hanging scroll was Mommy Menace's prized possession. Okay, picture of the crime from 7 years ago. There is definitely hanging scroll and her Japanese theater mask hanging on the workbench side wall. But is there some problem with this statement?
Hold it!
Prosecutor Blackwell. I wonder what he went there for. Detective? I don't know. I guess I can't very well ask Uncle's perspective. So what happened after Prosecutor Blackwell arrived? Error occurred, so somebody manipulated her data.
Hold it!
Don't remember what happened next. Error, huh? I wonder if... All data is fairly cut off at this point. I don't know anything after that. The answer to that question is right here. According to the defense's theory, this photo shows when the robot was being taken apart. Exactly, we can conclude that. Ponko's error was the result of her being dismantled. Indeed. The bodies of those robots are designed to be controlled remotely by a separate computer. That's basically what Miss Blackwell explained to us too. She said their hearts and memories are stored on a separate computer. When the witnesses were taken apart, she lost the use of her body, but not her memory. How she is now still able to give testimony about the events of that day. Interesting. It's as if she can be seriously wounded, but her soul still burns. And the parts of Ponko's testimony are hard to understand. Edgeworth chose to interpret hug as stab, but I'd better try to iron out who did what, where, and then whom for myself. Hold on, Athena. I'm gonna save you. Alright. So at this point, you should know what the statement is. Okay, so this is the new one. So, which piece of evidence are we going to be using? Now, this does not mean that Ponko's testimony is wrong, because he did not state whether Metasykes was murdered. That's just how the prosecution has described it. But we're going to prove to the prosecution that Metasykes was not murdered during this testimony.
Objection!
Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough. You took that guess really good, Di. I already knew that answer anyways, but you took that guess really good. I was helpful, hooray! I'm so happy! Di is probably smiling every time she sees this robot smile. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, her body was discovered on the operating table. But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations. Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new critical fact. What could explain the two very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. This one is probably gonna. This is probably going to confuse you. I'll be very honest with you. The victim did not move on her own. Are you sure about that? An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. That's the logic they're going with, huh? So the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. I'm very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of little Ponko here. Yeah. As we just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother.
Objection!
Right. It's been 8 years, but it's still just as green as ever. Green? But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit. Imagine Felix Wright wearing a green suit. I can imagine a fairy in a green suit. Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say? If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have had it moved for her. With work, Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes are the only ones there. I agree. If this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection, it would have been aware of another person's presence. Someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. And who do you suggest move the body? Don't you know it's in the nature of the robot to help people do things? Miss Franco allow me to ask you a question. Here we go again. My name is Ponko. Stay with me, Ponko. I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table? Yes, I did. Athena asked me to. Athena asked you to? And what did you move, little Ponko? I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. ID tag, you say? Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what a thing is. That paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID. So it would appear that Miss Panko here can't identify what it moved. My name is Panko! She is literally going to give Edgeworth a haircut. But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not? Do? Well, I do, at the very least. Miss Panko, on the defendant's command, moved the body onto the operating table. Ah! Panko, did you really move Miss Sykes' body? This is really important. Isn't there any way you could tell? I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell. Give it up, Wright. The victim's heart was stopped. The robot's protection system was useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it, strapped over a coat in the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object.
Objection!
But Ponko is equipped with a facial recognition system. She really did move the body. She would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. She didn't. So that means
Objection!
her face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't be able to tell if it was Dr. Sykes. Right. Summarize, Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench and used the robot. She moved the body to the table, where she removed the sword and was stained in blood. Order. But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place? You want a reason? Very well. But can't possibly have an explanation. Your emotions blind you to the truth. could learn a lot from our robot friend. Calm and rational thought. Open your eyes to what's in front of you. Now then, do you remember the operating table's one special feature? I believe I read that robots can be assembled and dismantled. Is that right? Right. So the defendant was just a child at the time. The table like a magic pot. Robots appear or disappear in seconds. I didn't intend to put her on the operating table and pick her in a flash. So impressed by what my mom did. There's looks just like magic. But you can't possibly be suggesting this young sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. Take a look at Ponko's arm. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It wasn't a sight who bandaged it up like that. You must have thought that machines feel in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. Reminds me of my own grandchild. No way. I refuse to believe it. The sight made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. Thought that if a robot could be dismantled and vanished without a trace. Prosecutor Edgeworth! If you're about to claim what I think you are, I demand that you word it as delicately as you can. With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table...
Hold it!
No! Don't say another word. Just stop. Was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime. That can't be! Order. Order in the court. Order in the court, I say. Edgeworth. He was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing? Horrible? Like I said, you're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to speak only the truth, no more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
Dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. I suppose that could be another way of interpreting. But dismantling or repair, it doesn't matter either way. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it had never happened. That's why she tried to mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget the fact that this case, the victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant. The body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant's guilt remain unchanged. Just can't be true. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim? Evidence? Right. Let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming chief prosecutor, I've learned that the truth isn't always pretty. I'll accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, Prosecution demands a verdict. Hostage suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. If the defense has no argument, I see no need to further prolong this trial. Edward's argument seems solid enough, but no way Athena could have done anything like that. What do? There has to be something, but I can't think of a single thing. Prosecutor Blackwell. This is quite the farce you're conducting here. I could die from laughter. Prosecutor Blackwell, what are you talking about? I'm talking about is that your argument is based on an entirely false premise. Go on, we're listening. Would this be the miracle I need? What if Prosecutor Blackwell is trying to pull 7 years. 7 long years. Case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor. Don't think you can alter the fact. Hold it. I will take the stand. I will take no stand. Well, of course, but Prosecutor Blackwell, please go ahead. Seven years ago, I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. When I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose. I waited for Dr. Psyche to return. And then I committed the act. How cathartic it was. Little Ponko there witnessed the victim falling,
Objection!
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened. Which would be... Fell means fell. Merely that. Mother and child fooling around. Perhaps he tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes' scene. There was no dead body either, of course, meaning he must have left the room. So the murder occurred after the time period Bonko described in her testimony? You should hardly take stock in the words of a wound-up toy.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Dana was always a robot. Always had Ponko, heavy one. Maybe no different. Ponko moved a heavy robot. This is awful. These things make sense.
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you trying to even now to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring the dark age of the law to a close today?
Objection!
You expect too much. I'm just a murderer, beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down in this hell? Blackwell. It doesn't come out now, all over. Are you saying that the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder? That's right. Let's hear your verdict. Don't hurry. I might miss the cherry frosting today. Don't you dare, Judge. Don't forget, I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her? Blackwell. Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. If you agree to this trial, you have a counterargument and present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackwell. Too selfish. Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict. Is this really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago? Why did you do it so bad? Even now I want to fly out of here and go save him. No. Tell her. But how can I lie to Athena? I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial. I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Tina, what are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear the voices of his heart. He's hiding something. Really is. I could sure use Athena's help here. The power might be just the thing to get us through this.
Objection!
I don't know. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're in it.
Objection!
Past 7 years. They've been just as hard on me, you know. What are you talking about? You remember that horrible trial? Please. You have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in a courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. Not being heard, no matter how hard I try, feeling so helpless. Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtroom. I want to run out of that door even now. Yet, you found a way to keep your fears at bay and become a lawyer. Because one day, I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. why I studied psychology. All to say Miss Floyd, do you realize what it would mean? You are the accused after all. You prove prosecutor Blackwell's innocent. Nothing that matters. My duty to find out what. Simon, please give me this chance. Chance to take off this fear that's been with me for 7 years. And to face the truth. Tina's being so brave. Confronting her past like this might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine. Forever surely be. I am not a man who can be cut down easily. Go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. Okay, before I go any further, this is going to be one testimony that's going to probably haunt us all. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with killing. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found a Tina there dead. I would not be swayed to my purpose, so I waited such a like turn. And I committed the act. All cathartic. Okay. So we have to go through the emotions. Which one sounds odd to you? You think this is it?
Got it!
When we review your emotions alongside your testimony, we find the unexpected emotion. Incorrect. Wait a minute. There really isn't anything strange here. I don't know, but I think maybe we made a mistake. I think maybe you're right. Let's take another look. There must be an unexpected emotion here somewhere. Okay. So, we have nothing to see on that one. So, here. It's happy.
Got it!
This feeling of happiness. Even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that? We may know the answer to that. Simple. I was looking for Tina, and I hadn't found her yet. I grew worried. When I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily merely that. Just now you said that you went to the Space Center to fight. First thing you did was look for her daughter instead. So I wanted to confirm that she was say first. Just a part of my plan. Nothing contradicts that. Second, I found an inconsistent count. Simon knows the principles of analytic psychology. There's less noise, but I don't see any instability to latch onto. I was afraid of that. We'll just have to keep chipping away at him, then bit by bit. You update his testimony, Athena? Got it, boss. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of going Dr. Fight. When I found Athena in the robotics lab, I was... But it will not wait my purpose, so I waited for Dr. And when she did, I plunged on it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This wasn't like that before, was there?
Got it!
Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell. What? When you said that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had lain in wait to kill her be sad at her death? Such an obvious fact. Yes, I felt sadness. It wasn't for her. I felt sorrow for Athena and circumstances. Talking about that. Just the subject. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, forced her daughter to undergo experiments. My objective was to save Athena. That's a scientist's own daughter, like a... What? I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I usually find Athena playing. That day was different. I heard someone crying in the robotics lab door. Was Athena being subjected to yet another experiment? I thought as I went to... Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait still. That's why he saw Athena. But is this story really true? I'm not sure how much. You're right? How are you doing? Still hanging in there? I'm a lot stronger than I was. Now take a look at this. The noise level actually went up. I've never seen it do that before. Prosecutor Blackwell finds their attack. He's piling lies on top of lies. He's trying even harder to suppress his feelings. That's what's causing the fight. How in the world I have evidence-based approach to market like find a concept. Otherwise, I should look for inconsistency. There are no flaws in this. And his boldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause and let the law free me from those chains.
Objection!
I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Now, contradictory testimonies are inconsistent. Should I tackle first? Do we have enough evidence to do straight to his testimony, or should we actually work on his emotions? If you're unsure, Andy could probably help you with this one. Like I said, this testimony is going to haunt us. Continuing emotions. Okay. Let's look for inconsistent emotions. Got it, bot. But if you want to try looking for a contradictory statement instead, just let me know. I can easily switch over. Okay, so we should be able to get an update on this. Okay. I heard crying from next door. Of course, I was worried. I hurried over and opened the door to the robotic. Okay. But before I could lead Athena out there, cursed my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor. Okay, so this last one probably isn't going to help us here, but we do have a lot of changed emotions. So, which one are we going to try to pinpoint? You're going to try sadness?
Got it!
Nope, that's not an emotion. Not the emotion that we're looking for.
Got it!
How odd. Why would you register surprise and open the door to the lab? Alright, fine, I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Ponko, a toy figure, attacked me. Dr. Sykes, full well of my plan to rescue Athena. But she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. Dr. Sykes had Ponko do it? Right. For Ponko to forcefully remove me on sight. I slashed Ponko up with the katana that was there in the lab. That rickety old puppet wasn't worthy of that fine blade. Mr. Wright, happened again. There's even more noise now. 100% now. What's going on here? Whenever we find an opening, he covers it up with lies. We'll never get rid of the noise at this rate. It's pretty hard to tell incoherent lies like that. His mind and will really are sharp and strong as a katana. Alright, what should I tackle first this time? So, we do have an update. Should we still continue emotions, or should we tackle the testimony itself? So we do have a new statement that's going to be emerged from that one. You want to try the testimony? I think there might be an inconsistency in Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Alright, let's give it a thorough check then. With a feeling of dread, I opened the robotic lab door. Just then, Ponko attacked me. I retaliated by cutting it into pieces. But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor. Are we going to press all these statements? You haven't pressed any of them. But still, we may not get anything new out of pressing him. I don't have the option to press. I just realized that I don't have the option to press. So we actually have to pick a testimony in order to do this. Second statement. I don't think we even have any evidence to disprove this statement, but he did indeed dismantle Ponko. Well, how can you disprove it?
Objection!
Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photo. That's the photo of the supposed moment of the murder, isn't it? How many more times must I see that which damned me? And the ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the blood stain at the end of the Ponko's arm, where it was severed with the katana? I hope you aren't claiming it's the robot's blood, Mr. Wright. No, most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana. The katana already had blood on it, so then it must have been the victim's blood. That's right, but if that's the case, we found a glaring inconsistency. You said in your testimony that you cut up Ponko and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Ponko's arm in this picture. What? But that can't be. Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Panko's arm, the victim must have already stabbed first, before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, your entire testimony is nothing but one giant ball of lies. Ah! Tell the court the truth, Prosecutor Blackwell, now. You have no idea what you're doing. Wait, there's so much discourse. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something. And it's right. You will pay for this. Never have I been forced to reveal so much, but the rest I'll take to my grave. Prosecutor Blackwell, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom? All of these complex emotions, they seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day is what's causing feelings. Following the sound of crying, I opened the lab door and then I saw it. That terrible scene. But before I could leave Tina out of there, first my luck, Dr. Sykes was in. I had no choice but to kill my mentor. So, we have to probe. So, we're going to figure out what scene he was talking about. So what scene was he talking about? You want me pro with Dina? You think it's Athena? When you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, prosecutor? You should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it. Prosecutor Blackwell, Miss Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Now, can you find it within yourself to believe in me too? Athena is. You honestly say you believe that to be right. I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door. Curse you, Phoenix Wright! Was a tragedy, one I'll never forget. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. He was lying on the operating table, while the bloody katana lay on the floor, standing between the two. Covered in blood was Athena. smiled, the far-off look in her eyes. She sweetly said, "Something's wrong with Mom. So I'm taking her apart to fix her." That's what I saw. Now you have it. Truth that you so desperately wanted. Oh, Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells the truth. And this is what it is. It's beyond devastating. I had to take my mom apart. I, 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 me. I, I'm the one who killed my mother. Athena, I said right. Truth isn't always pretty. Murder. Disassembly. On an operating table. A scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
Objection!
True that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspiration on my mentor by claiming Athena used in such a manner. Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people. Loved her daughter with all her heart. Love me? Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of your heart. Trying to set you free of your pain. Just you worked tirelessly on her research. Remember the headphones you hated so much? Yeah, my head hurt every time I wore them. No, Athena. Just the opposite. And its sound waves amplify emotional input, voices around your power with headphones would enable you to carry on life. Oh, they can't be true. Then why? Why would somebody like that? Somebody who loved me so much. Love for you was real. That. But what happened had to be some kind of a mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it. So you took the blame yourself? You and your mentor are now alike? Then you know. Franco was a witness. I put it in the case. Athena closed, vacated the lab. Threw Franco away in the boarding lot. Crashed in the case on the Space Center's ground. team that we now have all of the facts.
Hold it!
No, not yet. And like,
Objection!
do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been you, type of man, to turn your back to things disagree with you. I'm not. This, I have to say something, anything, even if it's a bluff. I've always managed to pull through the way in the past. The defense is prepared to present evidence. You're right. Athena? Not now. You or anyone else's or any longer. I say, Athena, what are you saying? I killed my. That's the truth. It's just like Prosecutor Edwards said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. Granted, just one chance to tell everybody what I recall. It appears Miss Sykes was braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you? In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess? Very well. Then, if you would, please take the stand, Miss. That's correct. Mr. Wright. Prosecutor Blackwell. For letting the truth be known. Now, can we finally move forward? Everyone's suffering come to an end. I'm kind of reminded about Rise from the Ashes. Because what happened in that case? You remember, Di? No, I guess not. Emma Skye was accused of murdering Neil Marshall. Okay? Got to the point where Emma Skye even believed it. So this is basically similar to this. Prosecutor Blackwell. Yeah. Prosecutor Blackwell will be clear, and the Dark Ages law can come to an end. It can't. Because if we let it leave the way it is now, it's still going to haunt everybody. Because not only will because the Dark Ages law, what side was fabricating evidence? Didn't matter. Prosecution, defense, evidence was being fabricated. And if we don't see to the actual truth to this one, we're going to hit the same thing over and over again. Don't know the real truth. Yes, admit your guilt. Bring everything to its conclusion. memory is still a little hazy. There's no question I remember it. Remember the weight of the weapon and really stabbing. Once the blood flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Honor in my guilty. I dare say, they're all memories no one the murder would have. See, thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter argument?
Objection!
I do, Your Honor. Because he knows that Athena is not being truthful. She's letting the evidence persuade her. There's still something that she does not remember. It's still locked away inside her heart. Mr. Wright. Right. Why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter argument now is pointless.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the clients to the bitter end. Athena, you are not a murderer.
Objection!
I said that you were insane, but you have actually regressed in these. I won't stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on matters of the heart at birth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul. I did a little research. I looked into those special psychologists mentioned Dr. or Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off and from herself. There's still a chance. Somewhere deep in Athena's heart, there might still be a memory, but not even she knows about yet. And she, like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos. That memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence. I hope for everyone's sake that you're not just bluffing. Now then, is there or is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession? My memory is professional. Remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, the feeling of stabbing, and remember the warmth of her blood that flowed down the handle onto the finger. There's definitely something wrong with the memory of the event. I can just tell. There's a problem with her confession. Please provide it to the court now. Don't think so. While it is a really good guess, I don't think that's correct. I know what you're thinking. The weight of the katana should not be possible for. Huh? Okay. the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright? I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor. But I remember it. I remember holding the weapon and getting blood on my fingers. That's exactly my point. The blood really did get onto your fingers while you were holding it. There should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of this sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. Therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of fact. You're right. Oh my!
Objection!
Defendant must be simply proportionate. You mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail.
Objection!
You also said there's no question that I remember it. A fact we can't ignore. Okay, why don't you explain what this contradiction to their memory means? Gladly. Give me a second. Think this through. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone. She said that herself, as she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, think. What could the contradiction with Athena's memories mean? So if it wasn't the katana, what was it? This site said blood flowed down the handle. The katana's handle is spotless. So doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than a katana? What are you up to this time? This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Sykes' life was the katana. That much is sure. So, if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocence. Different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be exactly? Of course. I can see you're floundering, right? Did you speak without thinking again, as always? But I can't back down now. Not now. That's right. I did. Because it's so obvious, it doesn't require any thought. What did you say? Okay, so maybe that was exaggerated. But there has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon in the robotics lab that day? Oh. Maybe there's something one of the crimes. Wait a minute. There is something. There is a high probability that was in the lab. I don't have the particular weapon here in evidence now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Other than the katana, this is another blade that may have been at the crime scene. You see it? This would be a utility knife.
Take that!
But that's the murder weapon in the Clay Terran case. Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Tarrant's life, but there must have been a knife just like this 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this one are issued to Space Center employees, and a robotics lab especially would naturally have one of these.
Objection!
But besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the scene. It was in the investigation report, if you don't.
Objection!
Of course I knew that. What you told me just now. Then, here's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene, but it didn't contain any blades. Here is a photo of its contents. Right, I don't see any kind of bladed. Fine. But isn't there something odd about the design on the handle? Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room.
Objection!
I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You are the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic sense. No. He is simply watching out for your ocular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright. Notice the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them. Oh, I see that. You do. Which significance does that have? It's clear that one of the tools is missing. When you rearrange the tools in a specific pattern, you might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetic helped you come up with? Just let it go, man. Show the court, then, if you would. What pattern or design would we use if we were to arrange the tool? Which evidence would have it? That's a nice one. And that was a nice one. Which one are you going to use, Di?
Take that!
And what design is that supposed to represent? The Gaiax logo, Your Honor. It's on all the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, Gaiaxa is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. Look at how brightly the Gaiaxa logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. I really dig the stars and rockets motif going. Gaiaxa, huh? Isn't that the new name of the Federal Space R&D program? Oh, I think I see it now, but... Yes, with just the tools shown in this photo, the red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Terran case comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open spot, it would complete Yigyaksa logo. So it would. Then that means, admit it, Mr. Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours. While you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one. Ugh! Order in the court. Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers couldn't be that of Dr. Sykes. Very well. It's supposed to admit that Miss Sykes did use it. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the weapon? But the real weapon took the victim's life was the utility knife. Don't be ridiculous. Or are you claiming the premise of your entire argument? Changing the premise of your entire argument. I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation tried your logic. The Sykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like a murder weapon. Then concealed the knife on her personage until Black Bolt carried her away. This clear up the contradiction between the Sykes' memories and evidence. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate tells you to go You have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own mind.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead the
Objection!
court. You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of the case. Need I remind you that there are only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalled stabbing someone with her own hands? No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. The problem with Edgeworth's logic is, it does matter. Because if she had the utility knife, because the autopsy report states that she was killed with a katana, that can't be changed. But if Athena had the utility knife, then she did not stab her mother at all. That's what Edgeworth is failing to realize. I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if... Now you're finally starting to get it. The contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. And the suspicions keep coming back from the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright? When will you open your eyes and accept the truth? I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. But what if? You're right. You fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Is giving up really the option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt. I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It's not over yet. Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her to the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case thoroughly. I concede the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with the utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife's teeth. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before you arrived. What could have taken the utility knife from the lab? If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. So let's think about this one. So then, how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? I know, this person must have fooled Ponko's facial recognition features by covering But wait a minute. Ponko has a heartbeat detection too. Even if they cover their own face, Ponko would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it. The culprit could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection. If the culprit posed as the victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. This is why we had to think hard on this one. The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag onto it. You remember that because when Apollo was there, was it Klonko that called Apollo Clayteran? That's why you said jacket. But that still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean that the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by this time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? You already know this one. This one's easy. I will make it even easier for you. Athena is not going to stab herself, so the defendant is 100% wrong. That's it. The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. The person who murdered her. And then pretended to be her. The real culprit. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to the hostage. You're absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth.
Objection!
I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second. I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. Who saw me? Witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Ponko did witness something. He saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What?
Objection!
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statement, there was no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous trap?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? I make that pose all the time regardless of the fact. Ponko's strange malfunction. Hey Darren, you look pale. Should I help you to the sick bay? Darren, that's Apollo you're talking about. Oh, this is Apollo. Maybe Apollo possessed like plays ghost. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Ponko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to the iPad. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask would nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then All the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as
Objection!
Of all the ridiculous affairs, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person to the scene, the robot would have detected them. I'm sorry, Mr. Edwards, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. He's right, because if that was the case, Polanco would have known that Apollo was not clay. Because by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. But same way with Clay Terrence, his heartbeat has stopped beating. You can't make the heartbeat. So does that mean, yes, Your Honor, the person Miss Sykes stabbed? This third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes is her mother's real killer. What's that? Impossible! Oh. Mask? The person stabbed was wearing a mask? Order. Order in the court. Miss Sykes, did you say something? Mask? Yes, I remember. Tina? What is it? My head! Ah! Miss Sykes, are you all right? No! Black lock. They're breaking. Coming back to me. Everything that happened today, my mother was murdered. They're gone. Black Cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's alright, Athena. Tell us what you saw that day. I was done. Mom, open the door. All right. Right here. You're safe, Athena. On the floor. By the workbench. With a katana sticking out of her. there was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there.
Hold it!
Then, quiet, Your Honor. Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me in a panic. I grabbed the knife that was there. He dodged it first. So all I got is clothes. I tried again. This time, got him, didn't you? Did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me, and I passed out. Utility knife updated in the court record. There was a thing. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. I asked. Something's wrong with Mom. I'm taking her apart to fix her. So that's why she did that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face. Put on the victim's back. This man is the real culprit. So, do you have any idea who the man was? No. No. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned past. Tina, can you tell us anything else about that? Mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. It was the lab. Oh, this mask came here on the wall? Tell me. Hey, no mask has the power to turn an ordinary phantom. Phantom? Seems that a new suspect has occurred. That means that all suspects against Miss Sykes See? This is precisely why I asked the question. Tina Sykes is a murderer. I won't accept any. Miss Blackwell. New suspect? Where's the proof this person ever existed? It says it wasn't all just a dream and little princess's froggy little head. Right. Don't have any hard evidence.
Objection!
Thank you, Mr. Knight. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Tina, we're glad to know. More and more memories are coming back now. So I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab at around 2 p.m. to charge. Ponko went to robotics lab at around 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Medicine. And then Mommy Medicine fell down. That I was charging. So I don't know anything. I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise, right, then he must have came to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? You know what it is?
Take that!
This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident at around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before that? I don't see anything in the investigation report. Looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we were to rewind the footage and go back around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Very well then, let's take a look. There, please stop it right there. Just like you said, there is a man leaving the scene of the crime. Tina said he stabbed his hand. Stabbed his hand. That tear in the jacket is also caused by Athena. That jacket is in the Hat 1 exhibit. The site. Do you remember this person? That's him! I'm sure of it! He's wearing my mother's jacket! I did. What I really wanted to see was her jacket. Jacket in display? That was Dr. Sykes? Can you see it? There's the slash I made with the utility knife that day. And I'm sure that knife is under that jacket somewhere. So, everything Miss Sykes said? Exactly. Proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Miss Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask that were there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko charged at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Ponko to come to the lab for her regular charge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Ponko into thinking Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like he was alive to that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death.
Objection!
It's a nice theory, Mr. Sykes. I'm afraid that it's just not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this video. That's right there is precisely the problem. ID tag on the jacket at the scene confirms beyond doubt that it belongs to the victim. The person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket. Then how would it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene? So, yes, the video is not incorrect. Not coming from robotics lab. He's going to. But that would initially mean that Athena attacked him somewhere out. What's going on? That doesn't make sense. Edward's right. The culprit was wearing the jacket. How did it get back to the lab? Okay, so right from this point on, the middle answer is completely bogus. The victim had no way to bring it back. You think the killer brought it back, huh? The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape. But in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradictions resolved. So that's what that part of the video is. He came back to the crime scene to drop it off.
Objection!
That it would have been impossible. The only person who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body. He claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose this mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket? Puzzling question, Steve. When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? Think long and hard on this one. If he came in when the body was found, it would have been a little too late. The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket is when the body was found. Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument? I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focuses their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of the case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body. I would never have thought of that. Order in the court. Well, what's the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the Space Probe capsule preservation for the Hat 1 launch. One of these people had a special bag to transport the capsule. Oh, you mean the shock resistance bag? Correct. I suppose that if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people. Well, we should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. If this person felt the need to hide his face with his theater mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered. Edward, does this mean... I have to admit, I believe Miss Dyke's memory is incredible. You win, right? Not that this is ever an official trial anyway. Lawyer, you mean Prosecutor Edgeworth? Are you actually proceeding? True, boss? Does that mean I can't believe it. It's over. I won. I proved that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell are innocent. Your Honor, I see no need to further prolong the
Objection!
trial. Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? Right. I'm the one that's supposed to say I see no need to further prolong. Not you either, Your Honor. Now silent. Little princess who was truly beloved by Metis, and who repaid that love with death. All these years, Tina was the only thing that's kept me going. What do I do now? Can anyone tell me? How am I supposed to go on? Blackwell. Oh, unlike you are. Metis was passionate about her work. Chose partner. Shut up, Simon. I know exactly how I felt about her. Her respect as a coworker wasn't all that I wanted. What did you want from her? Did you really just go there, Your Honor? Aurora, there's something I want to say. If you will lend me an ear, I have in my possession lead on who Metis' murder is. You do? Right, don't know. You asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past. So that's right. Phantom. The person Blackwell has been looking for from behind bars. 7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the Had 1 rocket. Why? But he was no ordinary spy. We knew naught about him, his background, his appearance. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At the time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. One day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him. Oh, exciting. Was it? Reporting of the Phantom's voice. Quality was so poor for proper voice analysis. Yes, I had hope. Aurora's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the reporting used in analytical psychology. That scientist was Dr. Psych. Yes, my greatest fear to have his true identity discovered. Suspicion at once that the psych results. The recordings were surely among his targets. His search for the space center for no fish. He must have studied the past. He couldn't find them? But where could they have been? Who is to say? Wow. I bet he never left that out of his sight all these years. What in the world did you smuggle? What in the world did you smuggle them into prison? Oh, I have no ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented at that sort of thing. I worked the lure of the Phantom and by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was given granted permission to process the case of tracking the Phantom. Just try to retrieve your identity. Bloody Butcher became my taunt. What about the results that site do up for you? Was there any useful information? Here. Yourself. Take good care of it. All I have left of my mention. I will. I better hold on to this real tight. Phantom site profile added to the report record. Psychological profile classified. Motion output of this voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject seemed to have unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. No emotional fluctuation. A spy who expresses no emotion, not sadness nor anger, naturally, is the very definition of Phantom. monster with no heart. See? This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives. That's what ails us all into motion. Phantom indeed. A fitting name for the one who had brought darkness to our world. Hold on. It seems a faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what we have learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings. Whatever. What do you want? You'll hear no objections from me. Yes, please, Your Honor. Over. Finally over. Very well. In this case, Prosecutor Blackwell, please take the stand. The result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. Verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. Now, defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sight. Yes, Your Honor. Right? Everything. No. More than welcome. Everyone is ready. I will now give my verdict. Two. Oh. What is the meaning of this? Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You covered the truth from 7 years ago, and you stay Prosecutor Blackwell. However, you can't allow this trial to end just Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us? Okay, that was a little longer than expected. Okay. So, the darkest part of the game has been subsided and completed. What did you think, Guy? Pretty sad. I see you held up pretty well. No part scared you? A little. The black locks? Based on what Pearl said, black locks could have probably uh, destroyed Athena's like personality and hindered her for the rest of her life. Was that what you were afraid of? It was pretty interesting, but the rest of this actually doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't mind this case too much. Is I don't like how it ended. Um, The whole thing about the Phantom didn't really bother me too much. Is the fact this is how they wrote the Phantom in at the end. It's what kind of bugged me about this one. And different version of Sephiroth. Um, I think Simon Blackwell could probably have Sephiroth running. I pretty much think that. Because Sephiroth is not somebody you should be afraid of. It's Simon Blackwell. Well, in the game, he was actually a soldier. Yes, there's still more. So, I'm thinking 2 more streams of this episode, and then we're going to end off with episode 6, which may, in fact, take us into 2026 before I start start Spirit of Justice. Yes, I think there's 2 more streams left of episode 5. How do you know? Are you, you don't know how many parts are left, do you? There should be 2, shouldn't there? Okay, I thought there was more than that. Because the actual trial is we have to clear Athena's guilt. So, yeah. I don't know. I thought there was 2 more chapters left. Cat's off centered. That's Andy's mistake. I won't. I'll let Andy fix it tomorrow. Yeah, it looks like it reset itself when it updated. Well, but we're going to eventually fix this up. So StreamerBot is also pulling in other parts of the chat and not repeating bot message. We have a kickbot, don't we? Are we still trying to worked with. Meow. Come here. Hello, kitty. Hello, kitty. Kitty wants to say hi. I also noticed that I didn't turn on the light on the camera. So it's been a little bit of darkness. So it's my fault. That's a little my fault. Okay, so rest of this week. Symphony of the Night tomorrow. Wednesday's gonna be .hack. Thursday is gonna be Circle the Moon. I did say that there's probably 2 more streams left to Circle the Moon. Oh. See? On Friday is what day? Crap. Because this extended a lot longer than I expected it, I think we're going to give you a break on Monday for RPG Maker, and can start tomorrow. Okay? Sometimes that'll happen. Sometimes it'll happen. But I don't think that we're going to abandon the project. But I'll give you the day off today, and then we'll start tomorrow. How's that? Sound fair? I don't know if you heard me. Did you? True. Still working on other... I can't type fast, you know. Oh, that's okay. I didn't realize what you were doing. So, yeah, that's going to be it for me for tonight, guys. You all have a wonderful night. Take care. Bye.